I see you as a person here, but also from what you say, you are a non-physical entity.
Well, we have the benefit of Esther translating for us, just like we have the benefit of you translating for us. In other words, everything that is non-physical, we're all pointed to this leading edge, which is tangible. So in this situation, what you're seeing is a person who is deliberately focused into a frequency that allows a seamless translation is not even a big enough word. Beingness. Yeah.
So where do we have to be vibrationally in order to see you for who you really are, and not as a person standing in front of me?
Well, some can see energy, but that's not who we really are. In other words, you see, the best way to know us is by feeling the resonance within you. So when something happens and you just feel elation, that's one of those moments. Or when something happens and like the group will feel a sort of epiphany, that's what's happening. So when you say see, what do you mean? Do you mean know?
Yes, no.
Do you see auras? Do you see energy?
No.
Do any of you? So in a situation like that, now see, that doesn't help you though. They're seeing something you're not seeing. And your question is, how do I see it? Well, you have to expect to see it. You have to be in the vibrational vantage place to see it. Do any of you see energy around Esther? Yeah? So just look at it. It's a little more tricky for you because you're up close and you have your glasses on, which are causing you to focus in a different vibrational, yeah, it's a good thing. So look at Esther and see her energy, if you can see it, the energy of Abraham. It's like energy leakage. It's almost like a shadow, only it's, instead of a absence of light, it's more like a presence of light. Do you see it? Sometimes you can even see it between her fingers if you're... So just focus. Like, try to look through her, not at her. Okay. When you look at her, you see Esther. When you try to look through her, you can see her energy being. Maybe. So try to look through her. We'll goose it up just a little bit. Anybody seeing it getting bigger? Anybody seeing it getting a little bigger? Is it singular? Does it look like it's just one energy around Esther? Or is it, you see more? Like a stream? As we move, is it still standing there? Yeah, right there. In other words, so it's not a satisfying experiment, is it? When you say, how can I see something? We say, like this, and then you say, I didn't see that.
Right.
I didn't see that. And so what you do, you ask yourself why you want to see it. Why do you want to see it? What's the why behind it? Did anybody see anything? Did anybody see anything? So what's the why behind you want to see it? Validation? You want to know it exists?
I just want to know that it's real.
It's all right. So
what you're saying is real.
And because words don't teach, it's only life experience that teaches. So what would real mean to you?
I think the teachings make it real for me.
As it reflects in your life? In other words, you hear it, you apply it, something manifests, and then you have knowing?
Yes, although I might not be able to believe that, like you say, there's hundreds of you, I can't wrap my brain around that.
We know. Yeah. We've been reaching for words to make intangible tangible, to bridge that gap. So the closest that we can come to bridging the gap is by convincing you that you're vibrational and that your emotions tell the story. So when you start paying attention to the thoughts you're thinking and how they feel, and you allow yourself to deliberately focus on a thought long enough to get enough momentum going that the feeling is strong, that's how you show yourself. That's how you teach yourself about the inner world. We have a really important question for you. And as you answer this, we'll explain later, but you're going to get this. The greatest evidence that exists for you about the presence of Source and the unconditional love that it is is the fact that sometimes you can feel great pain. Because the negative emotion that you sometimes feel that is so strong could not exist if there were not a relationship between where you are and something else. And the degree of the discomfort that you feel is proportionate with the bigness of the love that is real. Can you feel what we're getting at? In other words, if when you focused upon things that weren't good for you, when you're down on yourself or down on somebody else, when you're feeling inappropriate or not accomplished and you're beating the drum of that, your inner being is holding an entirely different opinion, knowing your value, knowing who you are, knowing what you came for, knowing what you've put into your vortex, knowing who you really are. But if your inner being would join you in the negativity, in the negative thought that you have about yourself, you wouldn't feel the discord because your inner being would be right there with you. So the fact that you feel negative emotion at all, the fact that that crevasse between who you're being in this moment and who you really are is felt by you in the form of negative emotion is the very proof you're looking for. Isn't that a nice thing? Jerry said to Esther one day, not long after he made his transition, she was really having a hard time, really missing him, and writing and crying and writing and crying and trying to find him and writing and crying and trying to find him. And then she sort of forgot about it for a minute, just for a minute. And she heard him say, the power of your love is really evidenced by the degree of your pain. She thought, whoa, oh, I don't want to love like that ever again. Ever again. But can you hear what we're getting at, in other words?
For me, it's real, like you said, when I connect to myself, and then it feels real. When I connect to my source, then what you said of what you are. But I don't have that knowledge that Abraham does. Like, when I connect to my source, I can't tap into all the answers, or maybe I'm not connecting deep enough.
Well, Esther's sort of hardwired to it at this point. In other words, she found that frequency and just focused on it in a very strong way, and you will too. Don't focus on what's missing. Just watch for evidence of what's there. And after a while, you cannot help but trust it. Here's another thing that we really want to say to you. You are the creator of what's real. You are the creator of what's real. Esther in the beginning days argued with us, but Abraham, it's true. Jerry would say, what about that? And we'd say, that's not your work. What about that? That's not your work. And Esther would say, but it's true. These are true things that we're talking about. And we said, just because they're true doesn't mean anything, doesn't mean that you should give your attention to it. It just means that somebody's focused upon it long enough to make it a reality. So now we're talking about these intangibles. We're talking about vibrations and emotions and connections that then will manifest in reality. Here's an. So recently, Esther purchased a magnificent house. It's in the snow country where she grew up. She loves the snow and the high, dry air. And it is a veritable castle. It is. It looks like a castle. It's a castle, she said. Turns out it is as easy to create a castle as a button. But the way it unfolded was so interesting to her because she didn't know she wanted it. It wasn't written on the board as, I will do whatever it takes to get it. Okay. It was nothing like that. It was a reality in her vortex that has layers and layers and layers of satisfying experiences that manifested into her experience with such effortlessness. And once it got there and she got a look at it, she couldn't believe how many things it satisfied that she didn't even know were active within her. So the reason that we're telling you this story is because once you accomplish a vibration that matches what's in your vortex, the proof of that alignment just barrels in with such consistency and such speed and such proficiency and such perfection. The people who were around her at the time that this was unfolding were saying things to her like, this doesn't happen, and this can't happen like this, and I can't believe that's happening. I've never seen anything like this before, and what about this? And Esther was just saying, that's how I roll. That's just how things go. But even as she was saying it, she was knowing that this manifestation was bigger evidence of more alignment than she even knew she had going on. You see what we're getting at? Where most people are running around trying to squeeze evidence out of the alignment that they've got going on, Esther had been for months just enjoying the alignment, not trying to make anything happen with alignment, not trying to use alignment for proof of anything. Just the feeling in the moment was all that she was reaching for. Just want to have fun, just want to have clarity, just want to feel good, just want to feel good, just want to have fun, just want to have clarity. And as she found consistently that vibrational state of being, then all manner of things began avalanching into her experience as evidence, as proof of vibrational alignment that she was aware of mildly in the form of the joyful experiences that she's been having. You see what we're getting at? So every single time you go looking for proof, you know what you find? The absence of the very proof that you're looking for. Because when you're looking for it, you haven't found it. So as you focus upon what you can find, which is a good feeling in this moment, then your inner being's just flowing with you, flowing and blowing and flowing and blowing and flowing and blowing. And pretty soon, that question never comes across your lips again, because it's just the silliest question. How could I not know my value when I'm treated like this? How can I not know that I'm loved when I feel like this? You see what we're getting at?
Yes. So when I get into that place, I should trust it, and that's my joyous moment. I shouldn't be looking for anything more.
Trust is a tricky word, but enjoy it. Enjoy it. Take pleasure from it. Bask in it. Milk it. Notice it. Notice it and appreciate it and love it and keep it going. Buy your attention to it. Just bask in it.
Is that it?
That is it. That's it. That's it. And for most of you, it doesn't feel quite enough until you start doing it and you feel the profound power of it. That's true empowerment, you see.